Hello everybody and welcome back for some weekly VR news, where I keep you up to date on everything going on in the VR industry, prepare you for this week's new releases and game updates, and then focus in on some major stories. Today, we have quite a few games to go over. The Quest Pro got a pretty huge update, and one of the biggest names in VR has resigned from Meta. Now there are of course links and timestamps if you want to skip ahead, but before we jump in, this video is brought to you by Into the AM. Let's face it guys, as gamers, we don't think about our wardrobe that often, and 90% of the time you probably see me rocking a gray t-shirt. Well, Into the AM has us covered, and they're going to change that up. They have amazing styles, but if you're like me and want to keep it plain, they've got you covered too. Everything I'm wearing today, from my boxers to socks, sweatpants, t-shirt, and even this hoodie, comes from Into the AM. Guys, their clothing is super comfortable. They've been doing this since 2012, and there is a 10% discount code in the description if you guys want to check out some awesome clothing. Okay, so let's start this video off with a little bit of good news, bad news. It was recently announced that the action-adventure parkour title Stride was getting a story player mode, and that was supposed to drop last week. However, development studio Joyway was only planning to release the first hour of the story campaign, but have recently decided to delay this release, and instead of giving us the campaign in chunks, we'll get the entire experience sometime in 2023. Now, while I was looking forward to jump into this, I know there was a backlash when it was announced that the campaign was only an hour long, and it feels like this is the right move for the studio. Now, some good news for Stride is they just updated their multiplayer. Avatars now have a full body, there's private lobbies for either tag or combat modes, and there's new cosmetic options. So if you enjoy the Stride multiplayer, it just got better. Okay, so next up, Resolution Games gave us a lot to talk about after their first ever showcase. They're already known for pumping out amazingly fun titles, but things just got so much better. First up, their classic fishing title Bait finally got a multiplayer mode and a hangout area that they like to refer to as a tinyverse. So now you can chill out with a bunch of your friends and catch some fish, and best of all, this title is free. And speaking of free, they made their absolutely amazing 1v1 shooter BlastOn free to play. Now don't be disappointed if you already purchased this game, because there will be in-game exclusive items for those who already paid for this title. And don't think just because it's gone free to play they're giving up on this title, as there's plenty of new weapon attachments coming, the game's continuing its esport endeavors, and the staff looks as committed as ever, just like their other free-to-play competitive title Ultimechs. This 1v1 or 2v2 game of robots meets Rocket League is about to enter season 2. With it comes a new arcade mode and a new ulti pass with a large array of new cosmetics. So now you can play this title either casually or competitively and add a little extra style. Now we obviously can't leave out Demeo, which just got its 5th adventure pack, and there's a whole bunch of new updates planned for next year. While the title is already available on flat screen, it will soon be getting full Steam Deck support. They're going to introduce a new competitive battle mode where you create your own deck and battle against real life players. And we also got confirmation that this will be a release title for the PlayStation VR 2. Resolution Games is also working on additional AR content, and you're already able to experience BlastOn, Demeo, and Angry Birds in an AR pass-through mode, but they have a brand new competitive augmented reality shooter called Spatial Ops. You'll be diving behind virtual cover and grabbing weapons floating out in the open. It's like a futuristic game of paintball, but it won't hurt when you get hit. Spatial Ops is currently available on SideQuest if you want to check it out right now. And finally, Resolution Games announced a brand new sports title called Racket Club. This looks a little bit closer to pickleball rather than tennis, as the court size is quite small, but it's definitely a great fit for VR, and I'm looking forward to seeing more in 2023. Okay, so finally moving on from Resolution Games, we have some brand new tracks for synth riders. The Groovin Essentials includes 5 paid DLC songs from artists Bruno Mars, Silk Sonic, and Starcadian. This now puts synth riders over 100 official songs, more than half of which are completely free. But if Synth Riders isn't your rhythm game of choice, Beat Saber also has the new Rock Mixtape Song Pack. There's music from amazing bands like Nirvana, Guns N' Roses, Foo Fighters, and you also get the 9-minute song Freebird from Leonard Skinner. So go loosen up those wrists and get rocking, as this 8-track music pack is currently on sale for $11. Okay, so we have one final game story, and this one's great news, but not much of a surprise. Resident Evil Village will be a launch title for the PlayStation VR 2, and if you already own the game on the PlayStation 5, the VR version is included for free. So it's great that the new PlayStation VR is launching with a major title, and if you already played this game and loved it, you can experience it from the VR perspective absolutely free. The list of PlayStation VR 2 launch titles is steadily growing, and I can't wait to get my hands on that hardware. And speaking of hardware, the Quest Pro just got a major new feature. They've introduced shared spatial anchors, which is a major update for co-location. Co-location is the ability to share the same physical space with multiple different VR headsets. The location of virtual items would be synced between headsets, and this is possible due to the new shared spatial anchors feature. Now, this has to be specifically implemented by the developers, and due to privacy concerns, you will have to allow your headset to transmit data to other headsets. Meta servers will use your visual data and determine unique patterns in your environment. I'm really curious to see this feature in action, and it's currently only available on the Quest Pro, but will be coming to the Quest 2 early next year. And continuing with hardware news, it looks like HTC is finally re-entering the consumer market. A month ago, they were already teasing a new headset with the caption "smaller is better," and we just recently got a brand new image. The official reveal of this headset is coming early next month during CES. Now, this headset will be a Quest 2 competitor, but can they actually regain some faith from consumers? Or will this be too little too late? HTC isn't in the position to subsidize their headset like Meta, so I expect the price tag to be a bit higher. Also, their tracking on the Cosmos was absolutely horrendous, so let's hope they've had time to improve their software. But probably the biggest issue they faced is content is king. Obviously, they won't have any of Meta's exclusives like Resident Evil 4, and their software library will most likely be similar to the Pico 4. So what can they truly do to set themselves apart and make this headset popular amongst gamers? Hopefully they'll pull out some surprises, but for now we just have to wait and see. Speaking of surprises, it also looks like during CES, we might be getting some new hardware from bHaptics. Recent Korean trademark filings included TAC Belt, TAC Sleeve, and TAC Visor. As a huge fan of the X40 TAC suit, I'm really curious to see what they're working on, and all of those names have me intrigued. But let's move into our main story, how John Carmack has resigned from Meta. If you're not familiar with John Carmack, he's most commonly known for co-founding id Software and contributing on major titles such as Doom, Wolfenstein 3D, and the Quake series. He's been working in the gaming industry since 1990, and he's pioneered multiple techniques used for computer graphics. In 2013, he resigned from id Software to work on Oculus, as he was truly excited to work with this new technology. He was functioning as the CTO until 2019, as his role became consulting CTO, as he was looking to spend more time on his new artificial intelligence company. Now, it felt like the writing has been on the walls for quite some time now, as it looked like Carmack was drifting more and more away from the direction of Meta. His unscripted talks after the official Meta Connect were always refreshing, extremely educational, and bordering on anti-meta. He just called everything like it was, and he let you know when he disagreed with leadership, and also gave you some free insight to what goes on behind the scenes. Well, recently, his resignation letter was leaked, and it didn't create a fantastic picture of the internal workings at Meta. Ultimately, he was frustrated by extreme inefficiency and extremely slow progression. He felt that a company with a ridiculous amount of people and resources was both self-sabotaging and squandering their own efforts. Issues and ideas that he brought up were either ignored until they became major problems, or leadership decided to change their mind. Ultimately, he was frustrated with his overall lack of influence and just got tired of the fight. Now again, if you've watched his unscripted talks, it was easy to see this frustration building. He previously discussed Airlink and Meta's unwillingness to accept it until they eventually did. He also doesn't seem to be very keen on the whole metaverse concept. It's not that he was openly against it, but rather it wasn't the main project that should be crammed down everyone's throat. Overall, this feels like yet another person losing faith in Meta, but in this instance, it's not anyone, it's John Carmack. Definitely not a great look as we move into 2023, especially around the rumors that people want Mark Zuckerberg to step down. So definitely not the best holiday gift for Meta, but things could always be worse. Okay, everybody, that was today's weekly news. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. If you're new here, consider subscribing. And as always, I'll see you guys on next time.